That was a great performance. Now let's go learn a little bit more about Josh.
Hi, I'm Kevin Senni here on the Sounds of Town here with Josh Roberts here, and we just heard him play the oboe. So what did you just play for us?
I played a oboe concerto, and it is a solo work by Mozart, and it was a very hard piece of music to prepare for, but worth every bit of hard work of it.
How long have you played the oboe?
I've been playing for 7 years since I was young, and I started with the clarinet, and even before then, I was playing piano and singing, and I decided to move to woodwinds, and my mother, on the other hand, wanted me to play the clarinet before I played the oboe for reasons of that it was a lot harder of an instrument to play on.
What interested you about it?
A lot of things piqued my interest, but it was mostly my father's decision to make me play the oboe because he heard of it being a beautiful instrument and having a lot of solos and a lot of hard work to go into it. And he thought that I'd have the determination and the creativity to do the oboe.
What do you think about the oboe?
I think the oboe is a very hard instrument to play on. I work hard to make sure that it sounds just right. I make my own reeds so that I have my own quality of sound and have the Philadelphia sound, as they say, to get its own unique, interests in the orchestra.
How do you make your own reed?
Oh, making a reed is very hard. My teacher said I had to make my own reeds in order to get a reed from him because he makes reeds for me. And he actually said, that I've been doing a lot better because, I spend at least 3 hours on a single reed, and it's a very tiny little thing. And I have to whittle away at it kind of like someone would at just a piece of wood, but at really tiny strokes, and just got to work from there for hours.
Are you involved in any music programs here at school?
Oh yes, I'm involved in the band here at school, trying to help other kids do, complicated pieces of music because, a lot of us don't have that kind of time outside of school to play in other things and learn the music. So I always try to help everybody, whether it's percussion or the woodwind section or the brass section, and, do my best to make sure that they're doing their best as well.
Do you perform in anything outside of school?
Oh, I play in a youth orchestra called Philadelphia Symphonia. It is run by Gary White, the conductor, and I've spent many years there. I've been the principal oboist for 3 years now, and I've had a fantastic time playing in the Kimmel Center and playing many concerts and for various amounts of people, and playing beautiful pieces like Scheherazade that have the oboe solo portrayed as the princess, so to speak, which was kind of embarrassing for me since I was a guy. But, it was a lot of enjoyment out of it.
What first inspired you to play in music?
Well, my teacher got me into music. I was actually just fiddling around with a recorder before, and my mother always told me that, even when I wasn't speaking when I was a kid, and I was just making up gibberish, as they say, when the KYW song came on, I didn't know the words at all. But here I was singing the tune, even though I had no idea what I was saying, but I had the tune in perfect pitch.
Who are some of your favorite musicians?
Well, some of the more recent ones that I support are like Michael Franti or the American authors. They're just people who have just come out in the world, and it takes a lot to bring a band or even orchestra pieces into the world. And not many people accept it, but you have to be able to incorporate it somehow. I do love the old masters like Mozart, Beethoven, and Bach. They inspire young musicians for romantic and classical periods where you can hear it any day and you can still get enjoyment out of it.
Have they impacted you in any way?
Oh, many ways. I had, written some pieces of music, kind of like orchestra excerpts, where I just have these tunes in my head, just like Mozart did or Beethoven did, and I quickly have to write them down on paper so that I don't forget. And all three of them have great ideas, and throughout the ages, each one had different creativity, different styles, and it's always been intertwined in between each other. Each one of them learned from each other, like Mozart learned from Beethoven, and I think Beethoven learned from Mozart, and Bach learned from one of those two.
What type of other songs will you be performing for us today?
Oh, I'll be performing a sonata, and that is by Pulnik. And he is a more modern, not so much as in the 2000s, but in the 19 or 1800s era. And he wrote this piece of music, and I chose to play this piece of music because of its slow and its sort of, loning sound, because the Polnick, the guy who wrote it, he had his master pass away, and the piece of music is sort of like clutching at the soul, saying, why did you have to die? I want you to be here with me, and I always wanted to have you here with me. So that's kind of like puts me in the mindset where it's like, it's a very sad piece of music, and I want to see how the oboe can portray that.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
I'm Kevin Senney. I'm here on The Sounds of Town with Josh Roberts. Now let's go hear him play.